Welcome back to Let's Talk Dog podcast. My name is Bee. I am the moderator and administrator here with Let's Talk Dog and the general keeper of the chaos.
We are the chaos. I mean, I'm Norca, the dog guru. I'm here in Central Florida, making stuff happen with the puppies.
Hey guys, it's Alexis, the vintage dog trainer up in Northern Utah.
Hi, it's Rachel from New Jersey with Training That Heals.
And I'm Jacqui from Dog Sense in Perth, Australia.
That's all. Jacqui, we have royalty in the house right now.
We're so excited.
This is great. Rachel, you want to start?
Yeah, I'll kick off. So we're going to get to know you, Jacqui. We're going to get pretty intimate and awkward. So I'll kick it off with a good underhand toss question. How did you get started in the dog world? What's kind of your story? What got you in here? How long have you been doing it?
Well, I think what a lot of people don't know about me is I haven't been in dog training formally for as long as I think some people assume. I've only been training formally and getting paid for 6 years. But I mean, like everybody, I've always been an animal obsessive. When I was a kid, I would be the one sitting outside with the dog while my parents and all my friends were inside playing. I had a border collie for 15 years when I was younger, and I did some obedience and agility stuff with her. Then I volunteered at quite a big rescue here, just walking dogs. And at one stage, I just thought, I wonder if I could actually be a dog trainer. I wonder if there's like a school for that. And I looked it up and there was. And so I did that and started training dogs. But I've always been around them. I've always been around trainers. I had a kind of mentor that I was hanging out with who does protection training. And so I saw a lot of that, and he helped me a bit with my own reactive German Shepherd. But I think similar to Alexis, what really pushed me into it was my own aggressive dog reactive German Shepherd. And even when I was doing my accreditation, I was like that annoying student that was like, but my dog does this, and so with this, do you think it's going to end? The instructors were always like, can we try and keep personal dog questions to a minimum because we need to move along? And I was like, but what about with my dog? So a combination of things.
Other people's dogs are our dogs too.
Right.
Issues that we have as dog owners are what other people have issues with. So how many people own a German Shepherd who's out of control and wild and has aggression?
And I'm an empathetic person by nature, but I have a lot of empathy for my clients because I've made every single mistake that they tell me about. My first dog when I was 18 years old was a Great Dane because I grew up with cats and I really wanted a dog. So of course I had to get the biggest dog that there was. I knew nothing about breeding. I was flatting, or I don't know what you call that in the States, but I had roommates in an apartment. I didn't have a driver's license. I didn't have a car. And I decided I was going to get a Great Dane. And I had to rehome that Great Dane because of personal circumstances and stuff. She went to a really good older couple that had Great Danes on like property and stuff. So she was in a better place. So I have a lot of empathy when sometimes people need to rehome and it really is the only option. Whereas I know a lot of people judge that and want to judge that. And I judge it too sometimes, but I made my German Shepherd reactive. I socialized him at the dog park. My husband and I would literally drive around looking for dog parks with people standing around watching their dogs play. We'd be like, oh, cool, we can socialize them. It created a reactive dog, so I've made all the mistakes. And
do you steer your clients clear of dog parks?
Yeah, I feel really passionately about dog parks and the negative impact they can have.
Why? Tell us, aside from your own dog becoming reactive, like what reasons would you give to avoid a dog park?
I mean, I get why people go. I think our society tells us that socialization means socializing with our own kind.
Direct interaction.
direct interaction and stuff. And it's fun watching dogs play, and you assume that that's what fulfills dogs and all that kind of stuff. But what I know now is that we teach dogs to a large extent what is fulfilling and what is rewarding and what is fun. And I think when we put our dogs in those situations, we are teaching them that dogs equal excitement, dogs equal arousal. And if you do that when a puppy is young, that's all they learn. So every time they see a dog, it's like, oh my God, it's happening, there's a dog, and they get excited. And then we wonder why when we want to walk our dog calmly on a leash and they see a dog across the road, they lose it. And then you get that barrier frustration, and then you get leash reactivity. And it's probably 90% of what I do. And whenever I have an evaluation, I ask questions about how's your dog with other dogs, and have they ever been in a dog fight, and all that kind of stuff. And 99% of the time, I know before I even ask if an owner has been taking their dog to a dog park.
Right.
And
I think
sometimes
one of the things that I'm proud of as an owner is none of the 4 of my dogs have ever stepped one single paw into a dog park because I hate them.
it's so rare, though. It's so rare.
It is.
And are your dogs exercised? Are your dogs exercised, B? Are your dogs fulfilled and are they content?
Most days.
Okay.
Most days.
And they need training, obviously.
Yeah. Sky gets the most because she's the one who I'm working on at my as a service dog. But 11 gets a lot of training that I don't think he cares about.
And if you guys are new to our podcast, B is a dog owner. She is not a dog trainer. So
Nope.
Right. But she puts in a lot of work to her dogs, a lot of work.
So we will refer questions over to her as well, because we want dog owner perspective here as well. So
that and I get to ask all the questions that they already know the answers to.
So Jacqui, something that you had said that stuck out, well, actually a couple different things. One thing that you mentioned, and I think Alexis could kind of rebuttal on this because she had brought it up 2 weeks ago, and you were talking about and it's conditioning. You're conditioning the dog that this is the normal of like being overly excited and all that up. And this was something, Alexis, you brought up like 2 weeks ago when we did that live, and you were talking about tips for puppy owners. And it was like, if your normal is not going for 4-mile hikes 4 times a day, don't do that, because when your normal goes back to normal, your dog's gonna be conditioned to it, not expecting, but that's what they want, that you built up like that drive and everything in them. And I think that's a good thing to talk about. Yeah.
You get used to it, and they want more. Just like when you go to the gym, you want more.
Yeah.
More weights. You want heavier weights. You want to do more reps, you know. And with a dog that goes for 4-mile runs and walks and bike rides, and I mean, you guys are building an athlete.
Yeah, but something else too that stuck out that you had said, so being extra caring with the owners because of you realized all the mistakes you made, you went through that. That's something that I know we never formally, I say formally because I consider comments and shares and all that stuff as formal introductions at this day. Now, I've never met any of you in person, but you know, some of you are my good friends, but I don't think we have ever met, Jacqui. And but my background is pretty similar, where I adopted a dog and I made a lot of mistakes. And this was even when I was already a trainer. Now, I didn't make a lot of mistakes and necessarily like cause behavioral issues, but what I did was I wasn't taking my own advice as a trainer, and I was getting in my head and I was beating myself down, and I was, you know, instead of being a trainer, I was being an owner where I felt like I was at the end of my rope, and I got to that point. And that's why I'm empathetic with people that if they do come to that decision of rehoming, I get where that's coming from, because I know that I was really close to that point at some point too, because it's the overwhelmingness. Right. And I think that that's such a great quality that trainers can possess. And even though it's hard to go through, for us to know what it's like for owners that struggle just gives us that extra edge and gives us that extra bit of patience when they are struggling and knowing how to say the right thing. Because it can be extremely, extremely overwhelming, especially with, like, I can imagine, I mean, my dog's like midline drive, like he's a mutt. So he has a couple different things, but for like a German Shepherd to be dealing with like behavioral issues, like that's a lot. It's a lot going on.
Absolutely. And I think what you talked about, like understanding the owner, I think sometimes that gets lost. I think the dog sometimes is the main focus, you know, and when training doesn't go well, no matter how hard an owner tries, sometimes the owner gets blamed. And I think that's a little unfair. I mean, my background is psychology. So my education is in psychology, and I worked in mental health when I finished my degree, and I worked with like the most seriously mental ill people, like people with comorbidities of like schizophrenia and personality disorders, and all my clients, or residents as we called them, because I worked in what you would consider kind of like almost like a halfway house, people that have come out of mental health hospitals, and we're trying to get them back into the community. And pretty much all of these people heard voices daily. And you get used to that. That's not even like something that bothers you anymore, but it's the struggles that they have and how they're really hard on themselves, and how the system kind of pushes them down as well. And sometimes I see similarities in the dog training industry as well, like the system and the approaches sometimes blame the owners.
Right.
You know? And so I have a lot of empathy for people, and as much as psychology I realized wasn't really my thing, because the system just infuriated me. It made it so difficult for people. It's a management model in the mental health system in Australia, and I think it's probably quite similar in the States. When you're really ill, really, it's about managing you so you don't have a negative impact on society. It's not really about the people and helping them so much. But the system, it just did my head in, and I just couldn't deal with it. And I thought, oh, I'm going to become a life coach, because that's all positive and that's all future focused, and people aren't complaining all the time. So I worked on Lifeline here as well, which is a telephone. I'm sure you have a version in there, but it's like a crisis line. For people that are suicidal or stuff like that. And so I've worked on there as well, but it can get you down. So I thought, I'll do life coaching. So I've learned how to be a life coach, and I've learned about strategizing and helping people plan stuff. But I never got my accreditation, because I was kind of like dog trainer, life coach, dog trainer, life coach. At one stage I thought I'll do both. And now I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? I was going to start 2 businesses. And I went dog training after some very good advice from a business coach, and I'm so glad I did. But I think that background and that experience gives me a lot of empathy and understanding and ability to kind of see what the owner is dealing with, and really consider, you know, them. It's not just about dog welfare, you know, it's about owners' welfare as well. Because if they take care of their welfare, they're not going to take care of their dog's welfare.
Exactly.
Many clients break down during like a consultation, or when you bring their dog back and they can manage their dog. Like I've had clients in tears, like, because I grab their leash and walk away with their dog. Like that's enough to be like, oh my God, you know,
Clients.
I'm that client. I'm that client.
I'm clients.
No, but it's great to see it, but you do see that frustration and that an emotional toll that it can take on people when they have that dog. They can't come out in the middle of the day because there's neighbors out with their kids and their dogs. Neighbors have to wait till midnight to take a walk around the neighborhood, and then there's 6 other neighbors who have aggressive dogs who take the same walk.
You just feel you feel stuck, because these owners get stuck in this place of they don't want to give the dog up because of the shame associated with that. And then a lot of owners don't realize training is an option. So then they're stuck in this middle ground of management and the system, like Jacqui was just talking about. But the system is honestly shit, because it's just management without any real solution. And that was me. I was like starting to come up. I was like, I can't date. I'm not gonna be able to date. I'm gonna have to be single. I'm not getting married till I'm 35 now. I was doing the math in my head for how long this dog was gonna live, and I was like, that's when my life's gonna start. And I know what that, and like that's what I'm saying is, like, as a trainer, I get that emotional toll. And now, yes, is that partially like I was very hyper like anxious about it, But yeah, a lot of people are like that too.
Yes.
I mean, mental health is a huge thing. So I totally love that background where you're coming from. I have no official or proper background when it comes to psychology, but I take mental health very seriously and I suffer with it personally. So I'm always extra forgiving when clients struggle with it. And I come from a background of I was going to school to be an educator, so to be a teacher.
Yeah,
So I
you
understand that
advocate.
people learn in different ways. They need different things. So all of that stuff.
My favorite clients are teachers. If I hear teacher, I'm like, you are gonna be my client.
We
And
understand each other.
I love teachers because they do their homework, they understand it. You know, I love teachers as
They
clients.
ask questions. They ask questions.
Yes.
They're eager to learn. It's great stuff. Teachers are always eager to learn. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I consider myself a dog teacher. I don't know about you guys. I get the teacher stuff.
I do. I just said I graduated college still in December, even though I knew I wasn't going to do anything with my degree anymore. I decided to finish it because I still consider myself a teacher. I'm just not teaching kids. I'm teaching owners instead, dog owners. It's still the same thing. I learned a lot of skills that I use in my dog training career that, you know, is beneficial.
In high school,
Alexis, do you have a question?
Yeah, well, I had a couple of thoughts too. So in addition to
Sure.
teachers being some of my favorite clients, children are the
Yes.
best little sponges for learning how to work with dogs. Like I will teach children all day how to do dogs and live with dogs, and they're my favorite.
And
Give
I
me
bet
Don't have emotional baggage.
Yeah, exactly.
we're good at
They're
communicating with
just
dogs
eager.
and children. Uh-oh, 11's in trouble.
No, Sky's trying to stick her face into the water dish and meld with the water again.
Oh, leave her alone. She is fine. She's a sweet angel. She doesn't do anything wrong.
And then
One
Do
thing.
the port canines in Darwin, are they still beagles? Because they were the cutest thing I'd ever seen.
With a what?
The port canines in Darwin, when I pulled into port when I was in the Navy, their drug dogs were all beagles.
Oh, right. Yeah. We still
Freaking
use
adorable.
a lot of beagles,
Beagles
yeah.
do a lot of scent work. That's great.
Yeah, and we do a lot of Springer Spaniels do scent work here as well.
They had a batch of beagles out there when we pulled into port to sniff for drugs, and one of them was a baby. It was just ears.
Beagle puppies. Oh my god.
And I think it was just getting the practice in. They
Ready
were
for
awesome.
exposure.
So having been a lot of places and seen a lot of police dogs, in Australia is the most well-behaved police dogs I've ever seen.
wow.
Oh really?
US.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time dodging police in Australia. I was very drunken in the Navy.
Our cops are nice. Our cops are pretty cool.
Your cops are super nice. So are your port cops. All of the dogs are incredibly well-behaved, the ones I came across. Even the beagle puppy, and it was not a big puppy. It was still just ears stage. Even she was incredibly well-behaved and friendly. It was actually kind of impressive.
Well, actually, I guess that kind of brings up a good topic because obviously everybody knows here in America, we have a major issue with like backyard breeding and lots of dogs stuck in rescues. What's that like over there in Australia? I mean, is it, I mean, we
I
have
think it's
dogs.
very
all the time.
similar. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have a lot of puppy farm stuff over here as well. Luckily, there's a real spotlight being shone on that in the last few years. But yeah, we get a lot of, I mean, we have a website here, I think, which is like your Craigslist, which is called Gumtree. And we get a lot of Gumtree breeders and stuff like that. A lot of puppy farms, a lot of the rescues and shelter. A client actually told me there's a rescue that they just were informed by a vet. I don't know if the truth in it or not, is deliberately breeding puppies and selling them as like rescue puppies. And
That's
so
what we would call here a designer rescue.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys would use that term here, especially
they're
in
not
my area.
fancy puppies though. They're like, oh, this is
No,
just
no, they're specifically, so like I'm in the tri-state area here, so I'm New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania. So in Pennsylvania, it's a lot of backyard breeders, and in New York, it's a lot of dogs coming over from other countries being rescued, and then they slowly work their way down in the shelters to where I am in New Jersey. So a lot of the dogs that are in the shelters by me are like, they came from this country, but they've been to this rescue, like in 3 in New York, 2 in New Jersey. So what happens is, especially in my area, you get these rescues that are not actually rescues. They're quick turnarounds that pull like sick dogs from other countries or sick dogs from down south, bring them up, don't do vet checks, don't do microchipping, don't do anything. Like you're supposed to actually keep a dog here, I think for like at least 2 weeks in New Jersey in the rescue. And they're like turning them around and selling them for a big price for a rescue organization within like 24, 48 hours with no vet checks, no anything. And like a lot of these dogs are going home with like parvo, and they're going home with like covered in fleas. They have like all these things that should have been taken care of before they were adopted out. So that's what we call design. I think that's, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's designer rescues. We're just looking to make a quick turnaround and a quick buck.
Yes, I came home with kennel cough.
Yeah, it happens so much here. It's ridiculous.
Kennel cough, and that's something we can talk about quick. It's pretty common in kennel settings. So I mean, that one's not one I would be like, oh my god, I got a sick dog.
He came home with kennel cough and fleas.
Yeah.
The kennel cough, I found out you can treat with warm water and honey. She liked it.
Yeah,
there was a large influx of heartworm cases in the last summer here in New Jersey. And not telling the owners that the dogs had heartworm, and they found out that like they did know and they just weren't telling the owners. So that was a big thing going on too. But I had
And you guys get parvo there as well? You get
we get parvo here. My dog Cowboy,
too, right?
My dog Cowboy had parvo at 6 weeks, and he actually survived it. One of his litter mates didn't, but he was an 80-pound O.
Snicky was 5 years old when she caught it from a cat.
Wow.
Yeah.
The parvo's the big one here, but we don't have rabies here, which is why we've got some pretty big quarantine laws. I'm actually from New Zealand originally, and New Zealand's even more strict with their quarantine. So we don't have any rabies. And I guess that's one benefit of Australia and New Zealand is we're quite isolated. So we don't get a lot of dogs, I think, coming in from other countries. We just have our own kind of internal issues.
You guys have feral dog problems other than dingoes?
Around the cities and general towns, not so much like I think you do in some places in the States. I think if you're up north more, in the more outback towns, maybe a little bit more. I mean, I don't think dingoes are necessarily a huge problem. My husband works in mining because Western Australia is probably the biggest mining state in the world, and he works for one of the biggest mining companies in the world. And you know, there's rules up there about not feeding the dingoes and stuff like that, but you see, I think they see them around and stuff, but it's not like it's a big problem for people.
Right.
That's more the Meryl Streep, like the dingo got my baby kind of movie. That doesn't really happen very much. you got more chance of being attacked by a kangaroo in Australia, probably.
You had mentioned that you were going for your certification. Is that required to be a trainer in Australia?
No, I think it's very similar to the States. I mean, because I've got a background in behavioural science, I try and be very aware of my own bias whenever I, talk on things. But I'm obviously a balance trainer here. So to me, I feel like balance training is more influential here to a degree, because the only accreditation you can do in Australia is with the National Dog Trainers Federation of Australia, and they're the only government approved and nationally approved accreditation for canine professionals. They don't call themselves balanced, but they're not force-free. Like, they teach you everything. It's mainly based on Steve Lindsay's books, the Applied Training and Behaviour books, if you're aware of those. They're awesome. It's like the Grey's Anatomy of dog training. They're so good. And that's quite a moderate approach to punishment and all that kind of stuff. So you learn everything. But you don't have to have that. There's no regulation. But I think we have very similar problems. But my own group is balanced. So I see that there's a lot of balance trainers in Australia, and what I call reward-based balance trainers in Australia, but there's no regulation. You don't, I mean, a lot of businesses and some businesses will only take you if you've got an NDTF accreditation, but there's nothing like legal or anything. I'm not for regulation at this stage. I don't think the industry is ready for it. I don't think the science is ready for it. I think it would be a disaster if they tried to regulate dog training at the moment.
It would totally be a disaster. I 100% agree.
Which sucks because we're at such like we're at a crossroads, but we're not ready to cross it, if we want to go with that like analogy, because there is so much, like, unfortunately, and we've all seen it in the last few months, just in like just in the balance world. And it's unfortunate because when we can't even, like, you know, we need, like, even we are like, something needs to change, but the industry is not, it's not ready for, like you said, the change, because it would do more harm than it would good at this stage. But it's unfortunate because a lot of harm is still taking place right now. So I think it just comes down to like us as trainers. I mean, we have 4 trainers right here in this room, 2 different countries right now. And we need to just put as much information and knowledge out that speaks to what we think is the best and always the best for the dogs, and drown out all this other, you know, BS that keeps trying to like take the light, because it is unfortunate what I'm seeing. The more I grow in this industry, because I am younger and I am a younger dog training company, the more me and my business partner grow, the more we're like, wow, like, it's like the more doors open, the more you see what's behind them, and you're like, oh my God, it's like things need to be cleaned up.
It's crazy. Especially when you see it on these big organizational levels, it's difficult to talk against that. How can a huge organization in Australia like the RSPCA be wrong, you know? But in my opinion, they are wrong, and in a lot of their views, to the point where in Australia, the RSPCA, which you guys have got RSPCA, you've got SPCA. What's the biggest like dog welfare? SPCA. They got sued about 8 years ago for defamation because of the information they were putting out about electric collars and stuff, and they lost. They lost the defamation case, and they had to formally apologise to an e-collar company. But that information is still put out by the media.
The stick stuck. That's the problem.
That's the thing. The industry's in a place where it's like anything, though. When you have something that isn't working, I'm sure it happens politically as well, but generally we overcompensate. And I think we're still in that overcompensating stage. You know what I mean? You tend to go, this is too harsh. We can't be doing this. Look at what we're doing. And then we go, whoo, like way too far the other way. But I mean, maybe it's, again, my own bias, but I feel like it's starting to come back a little bit.
No, I agree. And I think you just explained it spot on. And I always struggle to explain it, but I'm like, oh my God, every time something happens, or every time there's a new article that comes out, or every time there's a talk of something's going to become illegal, like back in the summer here, what was that, the summer, I think, when Petco here in America, and I don't know if it was worldwide, made the shock collars, they took them off their shelves. And everybody freaked out. And what you saw was a lot of balanced trainers either stood their ground very firmly, almost too firmly, saying how good e-collars are. And I train every single dog I get on e-collar, which in my opinion is wrong, because not every dog needs it, but it's not abuse. And then you had people being like, okay, I need to show, you know, I'm a balanced trainer, but I need to like flex and show that I could train this dog off leash. And in my opinion, that's also wrong, because guess what? The owner is not gonna do that. The owner is not that good that they can do that. Like, we have been doing this for years. Yes, of course, we're giving a dog practically doing backflips off leash. The owner is not gonna be able to do that. They don't have the time to dedicate to that.
Practice, and a lot of humans don't practice like that with their dogs. Like, I can take a dog and walk it down the river walk off leash and be fine with my timing and my e-collar. But as soon as I hand that button over to the client, it's a whole different world. They're just like,
We need this middle ground, like Jacqui said. And I think it's too much of every time something scary happens or there's a threat or there's a thing. Alexis, go.
Oh, you can finish your thought. I'm keeping it in my brain.
So every time something happens, like we always get to there's like this no in between of like, yeah, I see your thing, but like, here's, I had this dog that came in on this and this dog that came in this. It's like, you have to pick a side. I don't think there needs to be a side.
Right.
Simple as that. Alexis, go.
Yeah. So my horrible dark humor just kind of correlates. Like, we're all dog trainers and we're all working with these reactive dogs. And yet the entire dog training industry is defensive, reactive.
Oh God, yes. Can we
Yeah.
so much
Yeah.
negativity coming from the positive end and so much.
We don't have impulse control. As dog trainers, we
Yeah.
don't have impulse control. We see
And
something
it-
that pisses us off.
It comes
and we
down.
jump on
It comes down to.
Emotional
It
part.
comes down to people. It comes down to people, though. Really,
Right.
it's the
Sometimes-
people that are really nasty, the people that they really don't want discussion. They don't want a middle ground. They want to just be negative and bash and stuff like that. That's not about their methodology. That's about people. That's who they are. It's like the extreme. I think one of you guys is a vegan. Rachel, are you a vegan?
That's me.
Right.
What's right here?
You can be a vegan, but a nasty person that's a vegan, that's intense. Like we get vegans here that go into butcher shops with pigs' heads that are dripping with blood, and you don't change.
That's why I
like
said
that.
this is why I don't like titles, because I say vegan because people understand what the term means, but realistically, I actually prefer to identify as plant-based because I don't want to be associated with the extremists.
Yeah.
That is the veganism sometimes. And it's so funny. I was actually thinking about
Trainers. Balance
that today.
trainer.
Have you seen that
That's
TikTok?
why I don't even like saying I'm a balance trainer, because I don't want to be associated with this, like that I'm like a tool salesman, because I'm not. I just acknowledge that tools work in certain cases.
I've got a triple whammy. I'm a balance trainer. My husband is in mining, so he's raping and pillaging the earth. and my last job was a pharmaceutical rep. I worked for Big Pharma, so it's like,
Oh, Jack.
Does your husband bring home pretty rocks?
he does.
Oh.
He works for Rio Tinto, so they do diamond mining as well. So we got a discount.
That's
He does. That was black.
You guys ship to the US. No.
I got like pretty shiny rocks because I have a rock problem.
Yes. Okay.
I was going to say, have you seen that vegan account on TikTok? And this guy just does things like he gets onto buses and he pushes in front of the line and he goes, "Excuse me, can I go first? I'm a vegan." And if people record him, it's so funny. It's so
my God. I try to stay off of this is why, because like I try to even stay off of it, because like God forbid, like one of the vegans saw me like doing the training, they'd freak out on me, or saw me like feeding my dog kibble, like I would get my head chopped off. You're not a vegan. That's why I say plant-based now, because you're right. I'm not a vegan by definition then, because I feed my dog meat.
My dog's not a vegan, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, so I'm just plant-based.
Sorry, guys. Dogs aren't vegetarians.
They're not, guys. They're not.
Yeah, but
I don't know. I think it's just humans in general, that there's just that nasty percentage of them that they won't have a discussion. They just want to make you feel bad. I'm back on that. Apparently, I'm in a group on Facebook now that's all about cat abuse.
Yay!
And
I think somebody might have done somebody
proud of you.
confused me with you recently. I'm not sure if it was you, Alexis, but you guys might be aware that I got a bit of a hammering recently from a couple of force-free trainers because I had the gall to tell them that they didn't know what they were talking about. But what I saw, somebody said that in this comment thread about me, where they were saying that I had a personality disorder and I lacked empathy. That really pissed me off because I don't lack empathy. But anyway, they said, and Jacqui, and I've seen Dog Sense post about a cat on a leash and it deserves to get mauled if you put your cat on a leash. I wonder if they were confusing me with you because they don't like that you train cats or something. I don't know.
No, there's a TikToker who made a comment about a cat deserving to get mauled if it was outside.
Yeah, well, they've said that was me. I'm like,
What?
No, I don't know why. The person doesn't even look like you and is American.
Apparently I'm to blame for everything now because I disagree with force-free trainers. Like,
You
know,
speak for Australia.
they're going to blame me for Donald Trump as well. Sorry.
Yeah. How dare you? How
Thanks, Jacqui.
dare you? You're the reason why my gas
Well,
price is like $6
ladies-
right now. The pipeline thing got taxed
My-
last week, and I have no gas now.
Sorry.
My trainer influencers, I need you guys to remember before you respond or reply or video respond or reply to someone, go on their page. Make sure they have content. Make sure
Yes.
they're not a child. Make sure they're worth your breath, time, and your 5 to 10 minutes of replying. Okay, because a lot of the stuff people comment, it's like it gets to your emotions. It makes you angry, and you just want to respond right away and just educate. And then you look at their content, and either there's zero content, or there's very lame content, or there's just no content. I mean, it's just we need to make sure that our energy stays
I know.
followers.
Certainly a trigger for me. I guess I comment on it sometimes because I want to counter it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want it to be flooded, and I don't want too many people seeing that and thinking that there's any truth to it.
Right.
But I still, I don't know.
I have to say,
I know
been
it's
following
not
you, Jacqui,
helping.
for a year now since I started TikTok a year ago, and you always speak so great. I mean, honestly, it's your accent that really gets me in too. But you're never coming. You don't yell. You don't get like super like mean or nasty about it. And like I really always felt like you were coming from an educating standpoint and from a place of love and empathy. So whoever said that, you're a dum-dum.
You probably didn't have any content. Yes.
No, it's so weird because I mean, I've been hearing it more and more and more. I don't know if it's because I got associated with Jonas.
Possibly.
Because when he got into some beef and was accused of being a bully and all that kind of stuff, and I don't know, because I was in some of those comment threads like defending him, so then I've got thrown. But that's what people do. They decide something about you, and then there's that confirmation bias. They start looking for evidence to support that.
Right.
And I mean, but I'm on the wagon. I think I'm 5-6 days sober from commenting on fashion pages now. I'm doing very well. But when I do that, when I do that, or when I did do that, they would say things like, "Oh, I've heard about you. I know why you're here. You're just here to cause trouble and be aggressive." And I'm like, and I was like, am I aggressive? Like,
No, you're not aggressive. The problem is to be entirely honest, 90% of the people you're responding to are American. And we're some oversensitive assholes. That's really what it breaks down to.
Yeah,
I think
it's
sometimes they're not used to people saying something that counters what they're saying.
Yeah.
Other than,
That's
"Oh,
an
you're
American thing.
If you don't
American
agree,
thing.
it's very American. If you don't agree with me, you're wrong and a bully.
Yep. And then Jacqui, you come at them with facts and with class and education. It's
And
just
you're super
so beautiful.
voice.
It's just like, why do you even bother commenting? No, just.
I think a lot of it, and I'll be honest, a lot of it is ego. A lot of it is my ego. And I mean, we all have ego, and I want to check mine as well. But a lot of it is like, you don't know what you're talking about. I'll show you the truth.
Right.
And that's ego. But there is a part of it that it really annoys me that people see that and it influences them. And then it's not petty when you really dive deep, because all these talking heads talk loud, and people hear that, and they hear enough of it, and and then they struggle with their dog, and they think, "Oh, I can't do that because that's abuse." And we all know what can happen when people feel like they don't have options. So as much as it's petty, and it is my ego, and a lot of it is triggering, I know that there is an actual serious side to these people getting too much airtime. But I know, talking on
whatever
the
you're saying, as long as it helps one person, that's in my opinion, that's always what, and that's when I made my little transition in how I handled TikTok and all of that. Because I noticed too, at some point a few months ago, I was like, "Oh, I'm getting like way too in this, and I'm letting it affect me on too much of a level."
Me too.
And so I had to disconnect a little bit from it. And I said, you know what? I'm going to put my stuff up. I'm not going to really respond to any, because if they're already commenting that they don't agree, there's really no reason to try and convince them.
Yeah.
But as long as what I put up helped one person or helped one person feel like they have an option, or that it educated them that they have more options and that they're not at the bottom of their rope, then I don't care. I did my job and I'm okay with it. And I will take the 50 people that hate me if one person is
That's
and one
a better
dog
way
is
to do
better.
it.
Yeah.
That's the more mature way to do it.
It's hard. I mean, social media is definitely hard.
Let's make ourselves a reference group here. If we feel a little heated about something, we'll share it privately. And then we're like, okay, this is how I want to respond. How should I respond?
Yeah.
Jacqui and I have done it before. I know we've been like, come down a little bit.
Yeah.
Get out of our system personally, like, but then we really
Let's have a
That's so funny.
I
I don't know. I'm at the point of like working on treating like comments like that as like, that's just like the abusive ex. They're just trying to get a rise out of me. If I react, it's gonna make it worse. Right. And that's how I kind of see it. Like either I'll just
delete it.
Yep, just delete it. Not worth my time.
So like that, people don't try to learn something from the ignorant comment.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody reads that, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, muzzles do make dogs worse. Maybe we shouldn't put muzzles on the dogs.
I'm a big fan of using the block button judiciously.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Well,
yeah, I use the block button more, but at the same time, I don't want to create an echo chamber either. Like, but there's, I mean, you can't get through to some of those people, and I'm very happy to see that one in particular just deleted her account after a bit of controversy. But I know she's still around and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I blocked some. I think there's a little part of me that kind of wants the fight sometimes. Maybe I am a little reactive, you know.
Well, I think that it's
I'm
also,
so
I mean,
reactive.
So, I mean, we could talk about this a little bit. I started reading, I don't have a psychology background, but I went to school for history. So a little bit by default is in psychology. And I do enjoy studying people. And I've always been a very observing person. So I started reading this book again. It's my second time reading it. And it's by Yuval Noah. And I forget his last name, but he's a really great psychologist and scientist. And it's about, it's called Sapiens. I don't know if anybody's heard of it, but it's called Sapiens. And it's all about the Homo sapiens, us, and how we came to be. And a lot of what it's talking about is how we very quickly jumped the chain of command in the ecosystem, because we used to be bottom tier, now we're top tier, and we did it so quickly that our genes did not have an opportunity to catch up with us, and they're still catching up to this day. And that is why and he links it to why there were so many wars, why females are still so petty, as we would say, but it's because it's genetically in us to be like this, and that we're still adapting. And we're in this survival mode at all times, because even though it was 2 billion years ago, we were fighting large animals to survive. So now that we're top of the chain and that threat's not there anymore, we're locating the threat in other places, and we're creating the threat because it's genetically missing for us. And so, I mean, really, when you read it, and obviously he explains it a lot better than I do, it makes sense. And you really start to question so many things about like yourself and how you handle things, and then just history in general. And you're like, yeah, so much shit has just started for no reason. And you really think it just comes down to this having to like flex on each other, or this need to, this survivalist mindset. I mean, I know for me, I have survivalist mindset just because of my childhood. And so I'm always trying to create problems for no freaking reason at all. And I can totally get it.
Endorphins too, guys.
I really think it's a good read. For those of you listening, read it. It's a 2-part. I've only ever read the first book. It's called Sapiens. I think the next one is called just called Homo Sapiens. But a really great writer, and he's really a brilliant speaker. If you don't want to read it, listen to some of his talks. He does a lot of TED Talks also.
So I think it's a very interesting read. I read it right when I was starting my dog training career. It had nothing to do with dog training. It was just a coincidence. And I found a lot from it that I use. And now I'm reading it again. I just started this past week. So that, and I wanted to see the connections again. So I think it's a really interesting read.
I wrote that down.
Yeah, it's a good one. I actually told Alexis about it a couple of weeks ago, and I got so interested when I explained it to her that I decided to reread it. So I just started it.
Yeah, it's on my read list. I've just been finishing up some fantasy novels.
The fun stuff.
The book is probably going to seem different to you now too, reading it a second time, and
Exactly.
with all this dog experience you've had like this past year.
Yeah, because a lot of what he does discuss in the book too is, believe it or not, it's a lot about dogs, and it's a lot about obviously like gorillas, monkeys, apes, all that stuff, because we came from them. So it's also interesting to hear that background, because those are the three things that he focuses on, because those are the three things that made the big genetic jump millions of years ago. And so I think that's also, it's interesting. That's why I think we're so bond with dogs as humans, is because of that. So hi B, welcome back. Anyway, I wanted to see if we can kind of try and tie it back into some like dog training stuff. So my next question for you, Jacqui, is specifically with working with the owners and doing like the obedience training, what is one of your favorite things to work with an owner on, to teach an owner?
I think, and you guys would know, I think, well, I don't know, but it changes sometimes, I think. I mean, most of what I do, most of what the trainers in my area, in my city do are reactivity. It seems to be what everybody wants. I wouldn't necessarily say it's my favorite thing to train. I do it, and I think I'm getting good at it. I hope I'm getting good at it. But my favorite thing recently has kind of been fine-tuning stuff. I've been getting a few kind of hectic border collies or sheepdog crosses. We have kelpies here. Do you get kelpies in the States?
Yeah, in
So
certain areas. Certain areas.
So like border collie kelpie crosses, like and
that's a lot of dog.
No, that's a lot of prey drive, and and a lot of them have done a lot of training, but they're just hitting a wall. And I think even working with the police trainers I'm working with and all that fine-tuning detail that they do, I'm applying that a little bit. And I think when you just clarify communication and help owners just clarify what they're doing, get rid of the redundant stuff, stop saying that, like be a little bit more particular about your timing. It's amazing to see the difference it can make. And I've been really into that lately. I've got a online Facebook group, which is like a members page, which kind of covers my general training approach with structure and markers and obedience and reactivity protocols and all that kind of stuff. And I'll do single sessions for members if they've gone through all the learning. Otherwise, I normally do programs. But I really like doing those because they've kind of learned everything I do generally and they're applying it all. And so by the time they do the single session, it's just like finding little pieces to fine tune, and you see such big changes in a single session. I really enjoy that. But it depends on the dogs I'm getting, like what I enjoy training, what breeds I enjoy training with. Like Biz got a husky like shepherd cross, like huskies and German shepherds right now. I'm like, I don't want to train them anymore.
Norca had her for 2 weeks.
Yeah. But you know, but that's what I'm enjoying at the moment. But yeah, I don't do a lot of human aggression. I'd like to do more of it because I see the how good it is to see a dog like that progress. But I'm a naturally jumpy person by nature. And you can't be a naturally jumpy person when you're training human aggression. Like if a dog goes, right, I can't go, but I do.
I can jump sometimes, and that's what I work with mainly. I mean, it's human aggression.
I'd like to do more though. I'd like to do more. I think I need to utilize muzzles more, and I could probably do more because I think seeing the change and seeing how the relief of the owners when they see there's hope and stuff is a really cool thing. I'd like to do more of it, but it's one of those things where you want more experience, but you also respect the fact that they'd be better off with a highly experienced,
Yeah.
human
It's
aggressive
hard
dog
once
trainer.
you're like in the game already, like once you get the business started and you're taking on clients, because you're like now at that middle ground where it's like, okay, well, I need the income to support my life, but I don't want to charge somebody because I don't have the experience, but I want to take their dog on so I can learn. And it's like this like double-edged sword all the way around. That's something we're currently struggling with. Like we do really good at what I would call like mid-level dogs. That's what we've always had the most of. When we were getting our training, my business partner and me, we worked a lot of mid-level dogs, and we obviously want to progress, but it's just like one of those things, like we want to make sure we do it in an ethical way. I don't want to charge somebody what we would normally charge, where we obviously aren't going to be as good as it, and it's going to be like trial and error. And it's kind of like a tough situation, but I think it's really important that trainers, for any trainers listening, that you acknowledge that that is there. And I know the eagerness to jump in, but make sure you're doing right by the owners and the dog first. So if you're definitely going to jump into something, you should probably not be charging, or you should be charging significantly less.
Yes, Narka?
Yes.
So I have something to say about this because I just had a consultation this past weekend with a lady who had seen 5 different trainers in the last 5 years. And her dog has still just her obedience has gotten better, but the human aggression and her dog aggression hasn't improved. She was told by a vet behaviorist that her dog doesn't need the muzzle, that the human is the one that needs the muzzle for her own ego and self, or whatever the heck she told her. It made no sense to me what she said. And the lady, like the things that she was telling me clearly tell me like these people are not ready to handle a dog with her issues. And instead of just being forward, they take your money and then still leave you there with questions and still leave you with a dog who needs work. Like, and then the advice they give you, just like, buy tents for your windows and blinds and shades and take your dog out after hours. And it's like,
management.
These things aren't going to help your dog. These things are gonna, anything, make things worse, or they're not going to get better by you not helping your dog through these situations. But
I just had a go home session this past weekend, and we bumped out, like the last thing we do at the go home session is like the walk. So we're going out on the walk. We're showing the dogs walking really good. We're getting them handling the leash, and they're having that like, oh my God, it's so amazing moment. And they're like, that damn trainer we had 6 months ago who told us, here's the advice the trainer told them. And they live in a city area. So in the city area, it's busy. They're going to pass people. They're going to pass other dogs. They live in an apartment complex with dogs.
Every day, right?
The trainer told them, oh, every time you see a dog, just run in the opposite direction. Literally run. He was like, run. And I'm like, wait, so he told you to make a bigger deal out of it?
Yeah, no.
And I'm like, but like,
this
what?
is advice for people out here that have already, gone through a trainer or 2 or 3. Inbox one of us, okay? Just like Jonas Black, Danny Wells. I mean, who else? John Gata. Like, these are all trainers that work with really, really bad dogs,
Right.
Don't give
Make
up.
sure for an owner, make sure you ask the trainer, are they like, you have to ask these questions, like, do you handle reactivity? Do you handle aggression? Can I see your before and after work of aggression and stuff? I don't have it because we don't handle aggression. And that's what I would tell somebody. And I would say, listen, we're not taking aggression cases right now. And I refer you out to my friends. Simple as that. I have no problem saying I don't handle aggression cases. I don't think that makes me a bad trainer.
Don't sign up over a website to get your dog trained if it has some sort of reactive or aggression issues, because you don't know what the experience your trainer is going to have. You just don't know. I used to work for a company. I was a trainer already, and then took a job for a company. That's what people did. You like the board and train program, boom, you pay for it, and then next week your dog starts with me without us meeting, without an evaluation, without a background other than whatever little 2-3 sentences they send inside of their interest form. And I would pick up dogs, and it would be anywhere from a 6-month-old puppy who just needed basic obedience and manners to Layla. If anybody is following me, I had a human aggressive like Rottweiler lab mix last April who, no trainer with without my experience, would have walked out of the house with that dog.
Mhm.
It took me 45 minutes to calm her down enough to walk her away from her owners. Like, this dog was actively lunging at me with a muzzle on the entire time I was in her house. So a trainer without my experience would have tried to take this dog home, or because they'd already got paid for it, or would have to tell the client right then and there, you know what, I'm not gonna be able to do this. So then this owner's here who just dropped $2,000 on some training is told that it can't be held. Like,
Right.
so as a trainer, like, I try not to take on cases that I know I can't handle. Like, and I have turned out.
You've got to have the confidence to know what you're going to do in that moment is going to work.
Right.
And
Right.
you know what I mean? Because otherwise you've got this dog that's going crazy, and in your head you're going, oh my God, I don't think this is going to work. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do?
Be transparent. Because, I mean, I people can tell if you can handle their dog or not. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know about you, B, like, I handled 2 of your dogs, and one of them who's human aggressive. And were you confident right then and there if I would have said, you know what, I think you should just leave 11 with me too for a couple of weeks? Would you have been confident leaving your dog with me?
Yeah. So 11 is 2 years old. He is a backyard inbred white boxer with 1 brown patch. He has health problems. He is human aggressive. He is dog aggressive. He came out of the car lunging at Norca. And I think it was within 10 minutes, she took his leash and he wasn't happy about it, but he walked with her. He didn't have a muzzle on or anything.
And not once did he react towards me. Not once. I didn't give him the chance to, because it was just, give me the leash, let's go.
And I've had him since he was 6 weeks old. And he has never, ever let somebody he didn't know take his leash without trying to bite them.
Yeah.
But I have experience on taking a leash from a client who has a reaction.
Yeah.
Layla was 100 times worse than 11 when she was literally like in the air throwing herself at me, teeth baring through her muzzle, like, and I was still like, okay, I need you to walk this way, and as we walk away, pass me your leash.
Yeah. Yeah.
A trainer without my experience hopefully would say what Rachel said, you know what, we don't take these cases, but we may have a trainer that can help you or guide you in some way, you know. I'm really big about
that. I would do it for free. I would do it for free if I was going to do something like that. I still do stuff for free if I'm like, I really want to take this on and learn from it. And I'm lucky that I've got a little network of female trainers here in Perth where some of them do a lot more serious dogs. So if it is a little more serious, we throw ideas back and forth. It's a very safe space. It's quite rare, I think, in this industry to have a really close little circle of trainers that you just
I love this. Like,
I have built them. I'm not a trainer, but now I have them.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. And it's happening. It's happening. It's spreading.
Yeah.
Great stuff. I've seen Jonas with what's her name? Denise Fenzi. I've seen like Balance and Forestry just coming together and talking just like this.
Yeah.
Just,
I was just listening to that while I was getting ready for this, actually, that live.
Brian
I can't find it.
Brian from training with Hannah. I mean, he pairs up with, you know, any trainer that's up for a talk, you know, and it's great.
Alexis gives me pep talks.
No, but it's great. I love that we're able to network like this, and now I'm able to refer somebody in New Jersey. You know, I got a trainer. I got a trainer in New Jersey. I got a trainer in Australia for you. What are you talking about? Like, I think that's blows my mind. Like how we're building.
That's cool to be able to do that.
It has the negative parts with, you know, the gossiping and the judgment and the, you know, trying to put other people down thing, but at the same time.
But I think that's where the judgment part is the part that's kind of going, because like I know that like 2 years ago, Rachel would have been embarrassed to reach out to any trainer to be like, hey, I'm struggling with this dog. Can I get some tips? Because I would have felt like that other trainer, and probably would have the trainers I knew then, at least in my network, were very not, I don't even associate with them anymore. They would have been like very judgy, and they would have put me down and all this other stuff. I think that being the non-judgmental part, I'm like struggling so much to talk tonight. The non-judgmental part, that's what we need more of, because
Oh yeah.
we need to be able to bounce ideas off of each other. And it's the same thing too from owners and trainers. Like the owners need to feel like trainers are not judging them, because then they're not going to reach out to you when they have a question.
Right.
Or if they feel like they're annoying you, they're not going to reach out. Like I set boundaries with my owners, obviously, like, hey, don't text me at 1 a.m. But
Right.
I'm here for you. Message me if you're struggling. If it's Sunday, message me. If it's Saturday, message me. I might be out. I might be at the boardwalk
Right.
doing something, but I'll get back to you because I want you to not feel that struggle. And I think that there just needs to be less judgment all around.
Yeah, I tell my clients when I send their dogs home, if no question is too stupid. Like it can to you, it can be the smallest thing. And, oh, should I just ask her? Oh, no, maybe I want to ask her. You're ignoring that behavior for 2-3 weeks until I see you again. It's not going to help your dog. So no question is stupid. Do not ever feel judged when you think, you have a doubt about something. Let me know and I will guide you through it. Send me a video.
A great example on that is today, literally today, I was like, I don't think he understands the clicker. I'm clicker training, like I'm doing clicker with 11. And Marcus like, no, he does.
That's it. But to her, you could have been for an hour like, oh my God, is this dog getting this right? Like confused about something so simple. Like, and in the video that she just shared with me 20 minutes ago, I can clearly see that her dog understands the clicker. So you ask a question, you get the answer. So anybody out there who has a dog trainer, who's trained with a trainer, talk to your trainer. If you have a question, if you have a doubt, ask your trainer. Okay, if your trainer gives you an attitude,
I tell my clients if they don't send me messages or videos between sessions, I'll judge them for that. So they better send me questions.
The day I met Norca,
you're not doing your homework if you don't have questions. I want to hear.
I want to see videos.
Yeah.
I need you to send me stuff of you working with your dog.
The day I met Norca,
I started getting
she
a
was
little
wearing
bit,
a shirt that said, "I'm judging your dog's behavior." I was like, well, you have a lot to judge.
I started getting a little I guess you could say snippy. Like I would send updates to my board and train clients and they're like, oh, he's so cute. Look at that picture. I love that picture. I'm like, yeah, okay. He's adorable. Here's place it down. Do you have any questions about the commands? Like, let's focus on the material, like, let's get back into that. And I get it. I get where they're coming from, but you obviously want to make sure that they're absorbing everything that you're giving to them. So I have another really great question, and we tend to always ask this question when we have guests on, and it would have to do with owners. What is something you wish every owner knew when it came to their dog or dog training? Like if we could instill this into every owner for dogs to be more successful, what would you think it would be?
I think the relationship is more important than behaviors. Like, I don't know, there's so many things, but I wish dog owners knew that you need to nurture and create the relationship between you and your dog. And it's not about cuddles and kisses and, sitting on the couch. It's not about going to the dog park. All of these things erodes the relationship with the owner. To me, one of the biggest foundations I teach my clients, and I wish all dog owners knew this, was having structure in your home, managing your dog's resources so that they become reinforcers is huge. Like whenever I ask my members, what's the biggest thing that's changed, like how your dog's going? It's never, oh yeah, that obedience framework was awesome. Oh my God, place is so cool. It's always, oh, the structure. It's either like just changing how I live with my dog. It's changed everything. Like my dog actually is interested in me now. You know what I mean? And it's not about love in the human sense. It's about being interesting and being relevant. And that's not mean. And it's not dominance. It's not the alpha. It's just saying, hey, you want to go outside? I just want you to be a little calm and wait. And then I'll give you what you want, and you can do that with, I say, let's manage your dog's resources. And they say, oh, well, yeah, I've heard about hand feeding. Yeah, I'll do that. And I'm like, oh, no. There's so many more. So many more. And your dog is going to love you for it because you're interesting. And that's the way dogs think. They want to work with you. They want to
eager to learn.
They want to problem solve.
Eager to learn. Dogs are so eager to learn. And folks,
We don't have toys in the house
People
anymore.
say that to me, it blows my mind. Like, oh, dogs just need love. They don't need, they shouldn't be a robot. I'm just like, oh.
It's the best thing to see the dog like look at you and like, okay, dude, what's next? Like, it's
Right.
Yeah.
like
We don't
Because they think, I figured that out. Look at me.
Have more
It builds confidence.
Right. I was, and I agree with you because, and I think it's a common thing that people in general, they do see it as mean. So I know that with my dog, who is my personal dog, I'll, a common thing that I always get called out in my house because I still live with my family and my boyfriend's here. I have him wait at thresholds, going out the front door for a walk, going in the backyard. I put him in the sit, and they're like lining up behind me, and they're like, "Oh, come on, you're being so mean. He just wants to go." And like, it gets me down because I'm like, it's not mean. Like, all I want is him to look at me. I want us to be like this before we go out there in the big scary world. That's it.
you want that.
And
It's not permission, but you want your dog's attention. You want your dog's just ready for the next move.
right.
Abby.
Oh, can I go now?
Yeah.
Hands up.
As an owner, one of the most exciting things in the world was when I could finally get 11 to sit down at doors and look at me
Right.
for permission to go outside. And he's trembling the whole time because he wants to go. He waits, and he'll wait as long as I make him wait. And that was one of the biggest successes for me.
It's so
I have a
powerful.
slightly silly question.
I think people focus on like letting their dogs just do things because it's what makes them happy, but do you
Can I just say quickly on that as well? When I train reactivity, I kind of come from behind. I won't even be taking my clients around dogs until probably the third session. It's all about foundations and structure. And I talk about things like thresholds. And sometimes I can see the clients looking at me like, I'm here for you to train my reactive dog. Like, what the hell is this? What are you talking about? And I'm like, it seems so basic. I said, this is one of the most powerful impulse control strategies you can do. I say to them, I don't want you to say anything. I don't want you to tell your dog to sit. I don't want you to use your leash. I don't want you to do anything. All you're going to do is show your dog that they will not better their situation by trying to get to what they want. They're not going to react to their impulse. They've got to figure it out. And I say to them, I don't care if the first few times you do this, you're there for half an hour. Tell yourself you're going to be standing at that door for half an hour. And just
45 minutes the first time.
Nothing. There you go. But if you can have that patience and you wait and you see them go, this isn't working. Maybe if I just calmly wait here for a minute. Oh my God, that's made the door open. And then I hear that release word. That changes everything, and that will help.
It is those little things, part of the structure.
I have a silly question for you.
Kennel manners, because I start at the kennel. Like, if I'm opening the door to let you out, you can bolt out of that kennel. Like, we will be there 15, 20 minutes until you calm down, and you wait until you're released from in there too. So that threshold, any threshold we cross on the way out of the house, there's going to be manners. So
giving up that verbal control. I think as humans, we want to control. We want to tell our dog to this, tell our dog to that. And I'm like, just shh. I'm like, do nothing. Just wait. Do nothing. And you can see them feeling uncomfortable and awkward with the silence. And I'm like, it's okay. We'll be here for 20 minutes. Doesn't matter. We can always do another session. Won't charge you extra. But it's uncomfortable. People want to, but I've got to control this. I've got to do something. And I'm like, no. Just wait. Let your dog figure it out. That's a powerful thing for them to learn to do. Figure it out.
Right.
Sorry, B.
Even my idiot dog sits at the back door now. He's like, I don't get to go outside and pee on things if I don't put my butt on the floor.
Yeah, it's little things like that can help the bigger picture, guys. So I mean, you have a reactive dog, start with some manners in the house.
No, you should start with you absolutely, because we start the same way, Jacqui. I mean, I'll get contact forms in, they're like, yeah, I'm dealing with reactivity, we've had obedience training, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, yeah, we're gonna do 3 sessions if we're doing in-home sessions, or if it's a board train, it's gonna be this. And I'm like, we're starting with the obedience. Oh, but they already know obedience. Yeah, but we're gonna start here and we're gonna clean it up and we're gonna look for the little things that you're missing.
Next time a client tells you my dog knows this, tell them, okay, show me.
Yeah.
Okay, show
Well,
me.
and then
Show
I
me your
started
dog nose.
explaining this.
Well,
I've been
and I
talking
think
about this
that-
concept a lot the last couple weeks. There's a difference between tricks and there's a difference between commands. Your dog
It's
might know
obedience.
tricks,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's not obedience.
So
Yeah.
also I think part of it is, yeah, so like Bandit knows everything Sky knows, absolutely everything Sky knows. Bandit doesn't care
He's not a
because
piece.
she's never had structure. She's never been forced to have to care. She's not a problematic dog, so I don't really bother with it, but she knows all the things Sky does. She just isn't inclined to give a shit.
Right.
Because without the enforcing of structure, a dog absolutely can know all of the things they're supposed to do. But without the
Right.
structure, why would they bother? There's no repercussion.
Exactly.
It needs to be a check and a balance system. And it's, once again, it comes down to, I think, like punishment doesn't always have to be something as crazy, not crazy, but like an e-collar correction or a prong correction. It could just be, you're not going through this threshold until you check your energy. We don't get to move on to the next phase. You're taking time off the walk now, bud. Less time on the walk because you're taking too long to hone yourself in. And mama's only got 30 minutes. So if we're spending 28 of it here at the doorway, guess what? We're walking up and down the driveway. And that's it.
The
And your dog is
correction
still
for
going to be
Bandit,
as
putting
tired
her in
if you're
place.
walking 3 blocks or 4 blocks or 6 miles.
The best
Yeah.
correction for Bandit, the one that works most effectively for her, isn't anything other than just putting her in place. She hates it. She hates it. But she'll do it, and then she'll just be miserable.
He looks miserable on place, but he does such a great job. He's really good.
And it doesn't. It's 45 minutes of putting her back in place.
Yeah, Will went up to him earlier because he put him on place, and he was like, "Why do you look so sad?" He's not sad. He's just upset that he has to follow this command until I release him.
So I have a silly question for you, Jacqui. What's your favorite breed?
That's hard. I own a German Shepherd. They are no longer my favorite breed. I know. Oh my God.
This one's always
I
interesting.
love them. The German Shepherds where I am, you get a lot of hectic German Shepherds.
I think that's
I get these adolescent male hectic German Shepherds that are hard to corrections, and they're just too much dog for a lot of these owners. It's probably because I deal with so many problem ones. I'm just a little bit over them.
I mean, that's why we asked this question for trainers, because I
Mm-hmm.
can tell you right now what breeds I don't like, and that's because it's the main breed I work with.
Yeah. I don't even take some of them on now. I just handball them to some of my trainer
Girl,
friends. I'm like,
German
We
Shepherd?
just got a
can't do another German
Shepherd.
Like, I know a trainer will take your German Shepherd.
Yeah, like
I'm
it's
doing a
really-
couple at the moment. I'm doing a couple at the moment, which are actually very good because the owners are switched on. They're
Right.
doing their homework. My favorite dogs to train, it's tough. I think which dogs are consistently fun to train, you can't go past a good Staffy. I love a good Staffy or a Staffy mix, but I love Border Collies as well. I owned a Border Collie for 15
Why did
years.
I know you were going to say Border Collie? I knew you were
Yeah,
going to
I get Border Collies, but there's something about a Staffy. They're so lovable. But I used to say that I thought Staffies, you know how there's that research that says that most dogs don't like to be hugged? And I think the research actually says 85% of dogs don't like to be hugged.
Right.
My theory is that the other 15% were Staffies. Like in and for that.
Yeah, he does.
Then I got a Malinois. I
He's
don't know if any of you guys have owned I don't know if any of you guys have owned a Malinois, but
No.
So I have a consultation Saturday. A client
do you?
calls me. He's like, I saw your sign. He's like, hold on, you ready for it? I have a Belgian Shepherd. And then, dude, okay, so you know how you go through your library of dogs, like when someone puts a breed out, you're like, yeah, I know a breed, right?
I do that.
He said a Belgian Shepherd, and I was like, Belgian Shepherd? Yeah, I've worked Belgian Shepherds, and I'm going through my library of dogs, and I'm like, Belgian Shepherd. I was like, this guy has a 7-month-old Belgian Malinois. So I'm like all excited. I'm like, My first Malinois in Florida, right?
They're crazy.
I
I
was
mean, they're
like-
crazy, but they're so affectionate. Halo is the most
I love-
affectionate dog I have ever met in my entire life. I thought Staffies were the most affectionate, but she literally like hugs you. And if you're like, no, go sniff, go to the toilet, she's like, no, I just want to
I'm
cuddle.
all about the
Yeah.
Yeah, they're so
So
eager. I
sweet.
love them because they're so eager to work. I mean, those dogs are. They were.
I can't
they were
even use
made
her.
to work.
I can't use her for a lot of content because I'm like, oh, I'm going to film the first time I've taught this. And like I was going to film muzzle conditioning. And so I'm like, cool, well, I can show the process. I'll do about 3 videos. I showed her the muzzle. She was just like,
Like, I can't even teach you anything. You know it
I
all.
was like, nobody's going to believe this is the first time I've taught you this. Like,
They're so eager to learn.
trainable. But when they go into drive, they're scary. When
Oh,
they
yeah.
go into drive, they're scary because you see, it's almost like you see something flip.
Big
Yeah,
eyes,
exactly.
the psychopath.
Whoa. But they're very sensitive as well. So I think that's why I worry about them becoming cool, like from the John Wick movie and stuff like that.
They are
because-
They
trend.
Aside from that, they
Yeah.
require a lot, and like especially in my area,
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, like we have, like I said, I just got to train. It was as if somebody was like, train the heels, German Shepherds only. We got so many contact forms in all of a sudden for German Shepherds. And what's crazy about that is because, like I said, I live in the tri-state area, so I have a lot of people living in apartments. And is it possible? Yes, to live in an apartment with like a breed like that. Absolutely. I've seen people do it great, but it's a lot. You're taking on a lot as an owner.
Oh,
And you
yeah.
have a
There's no
high drive
off
dog.
switch. Those dogs have no off switch.
No
And
off
I
switch.
tell Alexis all the time that her dog is mixed with Malinois. She doesn't believe me. She doesn't
I
believe me.
have
The
heard
Zen's
that.
drive, that's a Malinois drive. Like,
I love
I've
these
seen
breeds.
Shepherd Malinois mixes, and your dog is
She,
borderline.
I have her pedigree back several generations. Remind me though, I will send you videos of her dad. He's a world champion in protection sports. That's where the psycho energy comes from.
I can't wait to meet her. I really cannot wait to meet her.
Ooh.
I love
I mean,
all
you
these
got
dogs.
videos
I
of
love
her
the
the other
high
day.
drive dogs.
I might do a live with this puppy Belgian Shepherd.
Do it.
Yeah.
I might, because I'm just excited, and I know the owner.
They're a different monster. Like they're just so sensitive. Like if people would get them thinking these dogs are bred to bite and they've got all this drive and they've got
No,
no
they
off
don't
switch and
know
they're
that.
sense. But
Don't know
but then you think, oh, so we've got to be heavy-handed with them. We've got to make sure we show them who's boss, but you will destroy them if you do that. They're not German Shepherds. Like they're very sensitive.
Yeah.
Like I only had to tap Halo under the chin when she was biting my face. She pretty much never did it again. And she's just like appeasement, like, oh my God. I mean, I could put my boxing gloves up and go on the mat with a German Shepherd and they're not going to care.
Yeah.
But a Malinois is different. But then they go into drive and it just
German
changes
Shepherd.
everything.
They're so
Yeah.
I love
You could go the rounds with my shepherd and she's still like, haha, what you got next?
yeah. They're
Like,
just like,
okay.
I don't think so.
they're bred differently, guys. Those guys
Yeah.
are bred differently, and they are not your average pet. And a lot of people out here really need to really think about it before they go and say
Yeah.
it's a Belgian
That's what I
Malinois.
was starting to say before. Like you need to figure out who you are as a person and what your lifestyle is before
You
you
have to
pick
be
out your
active.
breed.
You have to be active to own a Belgian Malinois. There's
Yeah.
no way. I had an elderly couple who I was driving my truck and I'm like, and this little puppy Belgian Malinois, maybe 4 or 5 months old, coming up at the leash, like full blown just puppy. And I stopped my car and I was like, is that a Belgian Malinois? He's like, yeah, we just got him. And I was like, here, sir, take my card. You're going to need to call me.
Oh my
Never called.
God.
I
Yeah,
just saw
yeah.
somebody I went with to high school with just posted a picture this past weekend and they're like, look at what I got. And I'm like, oh my God.
You
I'm
do
like,
not know what you're getting yourself
Yeah.
into. I
Keep
gotta
I
calling
didn't know what I was
Martha.
getting myself into.
I gotta
It's
call
only
one.
recently
Yeah, I have
I've
a
been
German
able to wear
Shepherd.
nice t-shirts again.
I had one. I have a German Shepherd and he won't stop biting. I show up to the consultation a week later. She has a Belgian Malinois, 4 months old, who is coming up at her legs. I mean, this lady has scars down her leg. And I'm looking at this dog like, oh my God, he's perfect for some bite work. This dog
Yeah.
is beautiful. And I had that, the trainer mindset on how awesome her dog was. But I'm looking at this lady and she is miserable. Like, yeah, well, they told me he was a German Shepherd. I'm like, lady, no,
Oh my
this is a whole
God,
different
that's
breed
so
of dog. Like, This is
Some
not
trainers
German
with
Shepherd.
Malinois back. They're too much for some. If I didn't have these mentors, this police trainer and his wife who are amazing, I would be like really
Right.
struggling. It's completely different. Completely
I love
different.
to watch people work with Malinois, and that is the closest I would like to be to them.
Yeah.
I
But they're
see
so
as a
smart
trainer.
too.
As a trainer, I feel this pressure. Like everybody's always like, "Oh, what's your next dog gonna be?" Especially now, because like I'm looking to get a house, and my boyfriend wants a dog. They're like, "What are you gonna get?" And I'm like, honestly, I'm getting a freaking puggle. I want him on the couch. I don't want him doing anything.
I want
Like
a
that's it.
bulldog.
I don't got time to be coming home after I just trained all day.
We're gonna train some more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Belgian Malinois, German Shepherd itself, that's a lot of work. You guys.
And I feel this pressure as a trainer that I'm supposed to get like a German Shepherd or like a Border
don't
Collie
do it.
or like a Husky. And I'm like, I'm not doing it. I don't have it in me.
The
I can't.
pleasure is in training other people's dogs. Like I cannot. I love training huskies. I love training
Yeah.
any working breed. But would I go out there and buy a husky?
Yeah.
Not
No,
ever
I
in a
wouldn't.
million years. Not
Yeah.
even
I
in a
didn't
year.
even think about
But-
it when I adopted Tater. We're not exactly sure because he's like a mutt and he's a genetic mess as it is and a behavioral mess, but he's part Border Collie. I didn't even give that a second thought when I was adopting him because I'm an idiot.
A lot of people don't. A lot of people do
Yeah.
not research their breeds and their mixes. And
But to be honest, part of me
Go by
thinks
looks,
I don't
not
think he
genetics.
actually
Yeah.
is because I don't get that. Like everybody's always talking
Yeah.
about like these Border Collies being crazy, and I don't really
They're
see
alluded
that
to
from
it.
him. Yeah. He's literally
They need
passed
to
out on
work.
a pile of toys right now, and he's been sleeping this whole 2 hours we've been on here. It's him. It was
I
his
wouldn't know.
birthday. He got a bunch of new toys.
my
and
dog's
he's
out of control and hyper. I wouldn't know.
let me see.
Yeah, mine is kenneled, so I have some quiet.
He's got his mouth open a little here. I think he's drooling.
Halo will be on her back, like she sleeps on her back in her crate.
He was
because
just
we
on his
bought her an
back.
Oxford, but she can't be free in our house. She's an 8-month-old Belgian Malinois, so
Oh,
she's at
no.
the shittiest age for the most
what?
full-on
You
breed.
mean 8 months old is not old enough to just let your dog free roam? It's not old enough?
No, guys,
she's-
every month-old puppy shouldn't roam around your house. No. The answer is no.
We'll try and have her out in the evenings inside, but that's the witching hour, and she can't. Like she tries.
What did you call
but
it?
it's almost like she's saying, "But I'm being calm right now." That's-
What did you call it? The witching hour? What did you call it?
What's that? The witching
Witching
hour? You know that time around like between 7 and 8, like
The zoomies time. So here we call it the
yeah.
zoomies. Yeah.
Ah.
This is common, guys, and I want to make that announcement because a lot of people are like, well, my dog goes crazy. Well, there's something about between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. that your
Yeah.
dog just has this little
All
surge of
four
energy,
All
and they
four
just
of
feel like
mine.
running all over your house. Those are not good. Okay, grab your dog's leash, put it on, train your dog instead of allowing all this aimless running and bulldozering around your house.
Yeah.
It's cute. Your dog seems happy, but your dog is just over aroused and has no clue what to do with this energy. So grab the leash, grab some treats, grab a place cot, and work on some plays for 20, 30 minutes so that these zoomies can be controlled and not, oh, there it goes. It's 7:30. There goes Buster. Okay. All right. There goes, oh, shit. There goes the table. It can be prevented.
Bandit almost knocked over my big wooden table in the living room today because we were leaving to go pick up my partner from work, and she gets to go with me on that particular drive. And she was so excited. She got past me before I could pick up her leash, hit the table, bounced off the table, hit the TV stand, bounced off the
Jesus.
TV stand, and then hit the door. And then sat down.
Jesus.
Somebody was excited to go out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so zoomies, don't allow them. They're cute and everything, but I liked it. The witching hours? Is that what- witching hours?
In the US, the witching hour is usually referred to as midnight to 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I got that term from when I was in my parents' group when my daughter was a baby, because I think kids are the same. Like they won't sleep
Yeah.
between
Yeah.
6 and 8 o'clock time when you really want your baby to go to sleep because you want a glass of wine and watch some Netflix. And it's like they call that the witchy now, but I think it's a parent thing. I don't know necessarily think it's
Yeah,
a
no,
mainstream
I
thing.
know I've heard of that
Yeah.
term in that context before.
That was when my children turned from children into demons. Were possessed. That's what that was. So we've talked about your favorite. What is your least favorite?
I hate to well, it's not so much now, but huskies haven't been my favorite dog to train because they're hard to motivate, and it's hard to get that owner relevance with huskies because they're independent. And again, people get them because they're beautiful and they like Game of Thrones, and it's their first dog. And I'm just like, oh God.
It's like Belgians.
I'm sure I could.
They're cute.
I don't do board and train, but I'm sure if I did board and train, I could take a husky and I could make a huge difference. But when you're just doing programs and individual sessions, it's like, I hope the clients are going to put in the work, and I'll do my best to give them enough that they can succeed at. But sometimes with dogs like that, it's just not a good match. And I find huskies just aren't in the right homes a lot of the time.
Well,
It's not their fault, but it doesn't make them my favorite dog to train. I've never trained an English bulldog, but I'm not a fan. I don't get it.
They're so
Are they trainable or are they just coffee tables with fur?
I don't get it. What do you want when you get a British bulldog? Like, other than lots of
I've trained a couple, and I mean, a well-trained bulldog is awesome. Like, just a dog.
We get Australian bulldogs and I like American bulldogs because I feel like the breed hasn't been messed with as much. But the English, do you get English bulldogs there a lot?
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah,
like, that's
they're
just
pretty- I mean, they're genetic
health
pretty-
problem.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I just don't get it. I mean, they've got great personalities.
I've never
but
seen one that isn't fat.
Yeah, but
Yeah, they
and
don't have great personalities though, Jacqui. They don't.
I get a lot of sassy, like, human aggression with the bulldog breeds. So, like, with English and just English bulldogs. I guess.
My partner
It's
was
always
like,
the
I want
same
a
issues
English
with the English
bulldog, and I was
bulldogs.
like,
They hate
no.
skateboarders and bicycles and flat
Yeah.
cars. It's always the same stuff.
I'm working with a pocket pitty at the moment. It looks like a little flat bulldog. I haven't worked with one before. His name's Capo. So what I really love about him is because you guys know when you're doing behavior model, a lot of what you do is you're trying to make dogs calmer, impulse control. This guy, we know we've only got about a 15-minute window of training, and he's just going in the corner and he's going to sleep. And I'm just like, oh, it's such a nice change. But I love him. But he doesn't have the destroyed face, and he's beautiful. And I love a good bully breed dog. I would rather get more bully breeds than German Shepherds because I've got a German Shepherd. What you put on your social media, you tend to get a lot of. So I'm trying not to put too much up of my German Shepherd, and I'm trying to put all my bully breed clients up because I love working with them.
Yeah.
They like to work, they're nice.
That's why I was getting so many huskies.
That's what Jacqui, and that's the mistake we made. We had 2 German Shepherds in. And listen, obviously I work with every dog that comes in, but my business partner, she is a sucker for German Shepherds. She loves them. She wants them in. And that's why we just got that German Shepherd train because she posted a lot of the German Shepherd content. And now everybody's like, hey, I saw that video. Hey, I saw his video. Hey, I saw his video. I need to do this. And I'm over here like, oh, because they come with the behavioral issues that are not, it's not that I don't work it, but I prefer working. Like, I love getting down on the ground with a really insecure dog, a really nervous dog. And with the German Shepherds, we're always dealing with like leash reactivity, the lunging, the barking, all that stuff. And I'm just like, and for like the next 2 months, we have like all these like the same behavioral issues of the same breeds. And I'm like, where are my,
It's on a pit bull.
Yeah. Where we just had this one dog in. I honestly, I fell in love with her. It was one of those, every dog I work with always leaves an impression on me, and I always have a place for it in my heart. But this dog was really one of them that, like, the first dog in a while, I was like, wow, like I really love what I do, and had such a deep impact on me. I mean, I was working with that. I was hogging that dog. I would not let my business partner work. I was like, it's mine. I'm working it. Absolutely love working with the dog. And it's because it's exactly like I said, I had to get on the floor with her. I had to build relationship. I mean, this dog barked at me for like 36 hours straight. And then the
Wow.
second like that shift took, I was like, I love you. I love you. I love you. Like, we are bonded for life. I'm stealing you and we're running away to Mexico and we're going to live happily ever after.
I know what dog you're talking about.
What breed?
Huh?
What breed was he? Or she?
This was an Australian, actually, it was an Australian kennel dog.
What, a healer or an Australian Shepherd?
A shepherd. No,
Okay, like,
Sure.
did they look like border collies?
it was a healer.
Oh, okay. I love
The
healers
short,
too.
yeah, with the shorter front.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are
They're
healers. I
tough
love
little
healers.
dogs, healers. I think
Yeah.
the Australian healers are probably a little different because we still have a lot of working healers here, but they
Yeah.
were developed to be the toughest of the tough, like in the outback, because the border collies couldn't handle the work in Australia. So that's why they developed the healers. But
Yeah.
I love them. They're so smart.
I got a
Yeah.
soft
When
spot for them.
When
If
they're
I ever-
reactive though, they're so fast. Like you don't see a lot of that loading.
Yeah.
And that they scare me when, especially ones that redirect, they scare the shit out of me because I know I'm not going to see that body language and you're coming at me and stuff. But I love
and I
healers.
noticed that, and I always, if I did ever get a working breed dog before I got Tater, I fell in love with and this speaks to the not the trainer, the human in me, and picking a dog based on look and not what my lifestyle was. I fell in love with the look of the healer and I really wanted one. And luckily my mom talked me out of it because I would have been in over my head at the age I was, which was
Yeah.
18. And that would have been a lot of work. But I think at this point, like later in my life, if I were to get a working breed dog, it would be one of them, like, because they're little nuggets, they're small, they're a good size
Yeah.
for me. But they have that drive. I mean, like, I would love to teach a dog like that to do like agility work and to just kick it and have fun and like do all that, like,
and they love it.
yeah,
Give it
that
some
all
work.
that stuff. Yep. But I know what you mean because I noticed it with her. I worked with a few healers, but they were not pure. So that it was definitely washed out a little bit. But with her, she was pure, at least I think so. And I noticed like something as simple as like getting her to shift her hips was it took so much longer than I was used to. And when it happened, I realized it probably happened a lot earlier than I had realized because it was such like it was so soft and so very little. They don't really cue in too much. They're a lot softer with their cues. And if there was a loading phase, which she didn't struggle with anything like that. But yeah, it's like quick. It was very interesting. I learned a lot. That dog fell in love with it a little bit.
I would only get a healer if I had a farm, but I love them.
Yeah.
They're awesome. There was a healer, probably my favorite client dog. Her name's Barossa, which is like a wine region in South Australia. But she changed the way I trained. And she actually, not that I was ever a compulsion trainer. I was never a compulsion trainer because the accreditation here, all the aggression and reactivity training is pretty much force free. It's all BAT, counter conditioning protocols, all that kind of stuff. But I was training this healer, and to me, really serious dogs, they needed more correction, they needed more compulsion, and we did food and stuff. But she changed the way I trained because everything I tried with her didn't work. She had so much drive. She's the only board and trainer I've ever done. Just trying to get her into the kennel, she was just like, and I was like, oh shit. Like, and if you tried a little bit of pressure with her, she's so tough. She's like, I don't give a shit. And I was like, I've got to really change what I'm doing here. And that's when I really started hand feeding and including a lot more obedience and fulfillment through work and stuff. And so she completely changed the way I trained, which I did all that stuff before, but now I prioritize that. And that's my fundamentals, you know what I mean? So, and I love her. I still see her sometimes. She's like my stepdog. I take her to seminars as a helper dog now because she's come so far.
So
she's like the more high energy helper
she
dog.
needs to come back all the time. I we love, like I said, we love all of the dogs we work with, but it had been a little bit since I had like a dog that left such a big impression. I guess because it challenged me a little bit. It got me out of like a little bit of like the training rut I had gotten into, I guess you could say. And it's always nice when a dog comes in and they teach you something also. It's always nice.
Oh yeah.
B, where are we at?
I'm a rabbit.
Oh my God, Jacqui, this has been great. It was great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. I've been so looking forward to this. I feel like I've made it.
We feel like we made it.
Right?
Jacquie's here.
Been a
All right, so
Pleasure chatting with you.
I'm gonna wrap this up. Thank
Awesome.
you for tuning in to this week's Let's Talk Dog. We will have all of Jacquie's information listed below as well as everyone else's. We are, as a reminder, on an every other week schedule now. So this will release this week. Next week there won't be anything. There will be the following week. So thanks for tuning in.
Yes, guys. Thank you.
Bye. Bye, Jacqui.
Bye.